Good morning. Welcome to the Meltdown. I don't know if you keep a really close eye on the markets. I've got a lot of clients who are into futures and options, certainly plenty that are into equities. And everyone wants to catch the market down. You try to figure out the timing play. Now, I've got some clients and some friends that are involved in all kinds of equity markets, options markets, gold market, silver market, and on a percentage basis, there is more upside in the price of silver than there is in gold. The markets this morning are hot. The XAU, which is the guide that we watch to see what the trend will be in the metals pits, is up almost 3. That's a big move. The gap between gold and silver is approximately 14%. You're still at about 62 ounces of silver to an ounce of gold. Folks, central banks buy gold. I take a perspective on coins and precious metals as diversification in a portfolio. And so whether or not your profession is medical, or you're an attorney, or you're the CEO of a company, or you're just the guy trying to make ends meet, feed his family, pay the bills, and not be gobbled up by the economic monster called our economy, there's a reason why people buy precious metals. Now, as I try to state, and this was a conversation I had with a good friend yesterday, I kind of hinted on it, on a day where billions of dollars are being transacted in the futures market, no one's buying that physical gold. I'm talking about big hedge fund managers managing billions of dollars. You look at PIMCO, they manage trillions of dollars. And when you move 100 million or 500 million and you see a move of 2% in an hour and a half, that is a huge margin of profit. Now, you and I, we may be messing around with $1,000 or $100 or $100,000. And the 2% is still more than you're going to get in the bank over the next couple of years. So you look at annuities. What I'm telling you is a guy who invests 100 million in the futures market, and all he's got to do is look at his screen and see, I'm up $26 an ounce. I'm taking the profit. It's 2%. 2% in an hour and a half or two? Pull the trigger. Euphoria. You win. You hit the 3-point shot. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. The stock market, the equities markets, the Forex market, pick all of those derivatives. That's the real turmoil in the marketplace. The dollar today is getting pounded. And where you should expect to see all the currencies going up against the dollar, that's not the case. The British pound, the Swiss franc, the euro, the yen, they're the ones. The Canadian dollar, the Aussie dollar, of course, the Russian ruble, the rupee, the peso, the yuan, all taking their hits today. Oil's back up, it's $97 a barrel. Did you go fill your tank at $2.99 yesterday? Because if you didn't, you probably won't come Friday afternoon. The markets are absolutely getting hammered. And the price of gasoline, you see the kids out there with the little plunger moving the numbers around. He'll be out again today. And tomorrow, here in the Houston market, most of southeast Texas, we're going to be shut down because of the freeze that's impending. Markets are going to be open. They're still trading in New York, and they dealt with a huge blizzard. I got a buddy of mine up in Columbus, Ohio, Marysville. Hi, Ken. I talked to him this morning. It was 3 degrees, minus 17 with the wind chill. But they're still out working. They're still out functioning. In Houston, Texas, we don't know how to drive on the freeways, so the freeze warning is all over the place. Please don't drive. If you're going to drive, stay off the highways. That ought to be interesting. I'm looking at markets, realizing realizing that there are trillions of dollars traded on any given day between millions of different parties. And you start in the Forex market and you realize that this trickles down, but folks, the biggest currencies that are trading are the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen. Look a little deeper, it's the pound and the Swiss franc. The dollar will lose its status as the world reserve currency in the next 10 to 20 years. And you're thinking, Brett, 10 or 20 years? That's like forever. You'd be shocked how fast 5 years goes by. You'll be absolutely depressed at 10. And when I think of what has happened in my life over the last 20 years, oh my gosh, if I could just have a do-over. It's not about the money. It's about preserving capital. And you're already doing those things. You've got your home, you've got your vacation property or your rental property or that piece of raw land that you want to retire on and build. You own cars or guns. You may own some coins. But do you have a strategy for it? Are you looking at what the future holds and how are you protecting yourself against it? Now, I had a great conversation yesterday with a client that I never get enough time with him. And ultimately, the message that he gave me was to buy gold at $11.50. Call me. I'll do more. The downside in gold, depending on what mining company you listen to, is $1,000. And I've got friends that are technical traders. They watch the cycles. They look at the crest cycle. They look at the Elliott wave. You look at what the trends are and you try to guess where we're going. But you know what? These are different times. They're unusual. We've never been where we are. We've never had the amount of debt that we have. And folks, I don't care what the government says. Our debt gets larger every day. Our monetary policy is horrible. Jay Leno made a crack. I got to see it this morning. I thought it was kind of funny. He talked about 1 million people have lost their insurance in California. Some of them are so mad they're going back to Mexico. I'm not a racist. I don't want to play the card that way, but it's sad because it's probably true. Getting health care is a major concern in this country, where it's been, quote, social medicine. You don't have to worry. It's just a question of how fast you can be treated. Folks, today is that day, and I try to urge you to make phone calls and to listen and go do some due diligence, look at other types of coins. You have fun with them, but realize that as you're stockpiling and filling up your safes, things are changing. And those things that change are the values. Now, I love putting sets together of silver dollars, Morgan silver dollars, 1878 to 1921. 96 different dates and mint marks. Coins are going to range in the lowest quality and the lowest grade from about 30 bucks up to more money than you might be willing to spend. Hundreds of thousands. There are $1 million silver dollars out there. At the lowest grade, the lowest level, it's okay to put them in a book. Prove that you are a collectovestor. If all you're doing is stashing rolls of silver, bags of coins, you are hoarding silver. Why does that matter? Back in May of 1933, May the 1st, President Roosevelt decided that he was going to confiscate gold in this country. We were very patriotic. We turned in gold. We did it by the bag. People had lots of gold. Collectors were exempt. And those collections over the last 120 years, 115, 80 years, have appreciated. And rare coins are more in vogue today than they've ever been. So much so that big funds are being put together again. I remember back when Merrill Lynch put together a portfolio, a fund. It was Greek and Roman coins. That's not an area of my expertise. But I can tell you point blank that those types of coins were in vogue enough that there were investors to step up and put money in. Your financial planner, your money manager is not going to sell you physical gold. He may tell you to get into GLD or SLV, and part of a diversified portfolio would call for that. But when I look at a George Soros or a John Paulson and I realize that their gold-denominated investments are mining shares, or they're in mining companies, or they're in GLD, an ETF, electronically traded fund, and you get to the realization that things are paper. Paper is not good for much. It really isn't. I want physical. I want to be able to barter with it. Do I think the economy of the United States is going to crater to a point that you're going to end up having to barter with your neighbor, the guy out in the country? Man, I sure pray and hope not. But reality is you expect the worst, hoping for the best. I love gold coins. And in the conversation I had yesterday, buy gold, Brett, at 1150, call me. You know, I don't really like bullion, but I'll take it. Thinking about the different 1 ounce gold coins that are produced, bars, rounds, American Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, Krugerrands. Folks, this market's going to dry up quick. You don't grasp all of that knowledge to realize that maybe the warehouses, as I reported the other day through a source, and of course I keep all that due diligence, 420,000 ounces stored against 41 million long position ounces is 100-to-1 leverage. We can't cover it. That means for every ounce of gold that is in a warehouse, there's 100 claims on it. That's the same problem you've got in the banking system. You check online, you see what your bank account records say. It says you've got X amount of dollars, and you can write checks or use your debit card. Your husband can go get lunch, whatever that is. But guess what? If all of you decided to start running into the banks and you wanted your cash, you cashed in your CDs, you wanted money, you wanted hard currency, your SOL, the Federal Reserve, will shut down the system. The bank doors will get locked. The vaults will be sealed. You can't get into your safety deposit box. You can't get the cash. You can't get the gold or the silver. You can't get the valuable jewelry that you put back for your wife. Maybe you've got some back for yourself. At 5 o'clock when the banks close, you're done. At 4 o'clock in some places, the lobbies close. You're done. And if there's a bank run, you're done. And it doesn't matter where you go in the world. You can pull out your credit card and you can swipe it and try and get a cash advance somewhere overseas. Not going to work. Every time you swipe a card, you pop up on a computer screen with the bank. They see every single transaction. I don't care if it's $10 or $10,000. There's different forms of gold, and I explained to Larry, I said, Larry, you don't have to buy 1 ounce bullion coins. You can own $5, $10, $20 gold pieces that were minted all the way back into the 1840s and come all the way through the 1920s. And you can own multiple types of coins and multiple qualities. But if you're trying to buy bullion, go to the lowest grade, jewelry grade, where the coins have been, quote, damaged. There's no numismatic premium to them. Yes, you're going to pay a few percentage points of spread, profit to the dealer. There's 0.9675 ounces in a $20 gold piece. That's based on the fact that it's 22 karat gold, period. So you're not getting a whole ounce. I never want people to get confused about that. And folks, people misrepresent the truth and fact all the time. Gosh knows there's plenty of them out there. Uneducated people make uneducated claims. And I don't want to hear about, oh my gosh, I had a 1991 half-ounce gold eagle. Brett, you said it was worth $3,500, but mine's scratched. I pulled it out of a belt buckle. It's not the same. Any more than owning a piece of currency dated in the 1830s from the government of Texas that looks like it has been used and abused and is not worth more than $100 compared to the finest known that's probably worth a couple of $100,000. Now, folks, I want to attack that one straight on. I control, it's collateralized, A Mint State 64 specimen of a Government of Texas note. Yeah, I made an attempt to sell it thinking that the game with Pawn Stars was one that you negotiate. They brought a guy out. He didn't know what he was talking about. Everyone knows that. I overvalued the note, clearly. But it's still worth more than what was claimed on the show. It's probably worth $100,000 to $200,000. It should be auctioned, and it should be given its opportunity, whether it goes for $20,000 or $100,000 or $120,000. People don't always understand what they're talking about, and that's the real truth of it. But when you get down to it, you find somebody who is dedicated to the industry, who is going to shoot you straight, tell you what's going on, and I want to do that. There's plenty of horror stories out there, and I've dealt with some of them, and I've talked about them on my podcast. A guy who owns a $450 silver dollar who goes to an uneducated dealer or somebody who's just trying to flat rip him off, tells him it's worth $26. And the guy's freaked out. Well, I showed you in the book. I mean, here's the bid sheet, here's the red book, here's all the information, and they sell for $600 on online auctions, and some guy said it's worth $26, so all of a sudden he's the expert. Look, I don't have all the answers, and I'll certainly dig in and do the due diligence to provide you good, accurate information. I've got a lady who is talking to me about a stamp collection and some other collectibles. Michelle, I look forward to the opportunity to meeting with you, ma'am. I have a great deal of knowledge, and I have a lot of resources at my whim, places where you can go and you can get information, but people consult with me because they're going to get a straight shot about it. Markets change, and not everybody is willing to withstand the correction of a market. Dealers make profit, whether it's a 2% profit or a 30% profit. If you don't understand that, then you're missing the point of economics. Brick and mortar stores function really well because they work on a profit. You get to a big warehouse company, and there's plenty of them, but let's talk about Amazon. Amazon's testing drones. Jeff Bezos is making enough money that within 10 miles of one of his warehouses, there will probably be drones flying around in the next year or two. That's going to happen. It is going to have a negative impact on brick and mortar businesses. Just like everyone boycotted Walmart for a long time, the small business owner in a small community was forced out of business because you can't compete with a Walmart. Folks, do business with the small guy. Listen to what he's got to say. See if you can find the due diligence. If he's giving you accurate information, my gosh, let him make a few bucks. I've got employees. I take care of my employees. They come first. I'll pass on a paycheck to make sure that they're taken care of. Doesn't make me an Eagle Scout. It just means that I'm a Boy Scout. But if you've got questions, you need to email them. Brett, B-R-E-T-T, at thegoldexchange.net. That's Brett with 2 T's at thegoldexchange.net. You can call the store 281-548-2646. That's 281-548-2646. Hit option 0. I'll help you build a portfolio. We'll own it in a third, a third, and a third. If you visit themeltdown.com, there is a links page to get more information about rare coins, about the bullion markets, about commemorative coins, coins that date from 1892 all the way through the 1950s. Lots of information. There's lots on the internet. If you've got questions, email them or call me. I'll give you a straight answer. Like it or not, I'm going to hitch that way. Folks, this is the time to start sketching things out and do them a little bit differently. That's all. Anyway, I never get off a podcast without thanking Texas Children's Hospital, the Downs Clinic, and the Ronald McDonald House. Now, these are 2 charities that are very close to my heart. My son Jason has very mild Downs. If you visit themeltdown.com, there's donation links. You can put in your information. You'll get a receipt. The information is anonymous. I don't get any of it, but I appreciate you supporting both the Downs Clinic and the Ronald McDonald House. If you can provide a hot meal to 20 to 40 people on any given night, please call 832-824-8600. That's 832-824-8600. Nancy Allen and her staff will be more than happy to help accommodate you. The Ronald McDonald House in Texas Children's is on the 4th floor. There's 20 rooms for the families that stay bedside with their kids. And folks, they need our love and our help. It's just very close to me. Anyway, I appreciate you listening in. I appreciate the doctors, the nurses, the staff, the volunteers, the people who listen to podcasts, the people who ask questions, who buy or sell, even if you want to trade. I look forward to chatting with you. Have a great day, and God bless you, and be careful tomorrow. Weather's going to be bad till probably about noontime. God bless you. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.